Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Bryant, and we got a hidden gem for y'all today. We got Systemized Sarah with us today. How you doing? I'm glad you're here. So let's bring them back. Where you from? Like, where'd you grow up?
I was born in Michigan, but I was raised basically in Florida. So a little tiny town called Spring Hill.
Okay, Spring Hill. Okay, I closed a couple deals there. So how was Spring Hill growing up? Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got one brother. And Spring Hill's like a tiny town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's in everybody's business.
Yeah. Mom and dad growing up, were they together?
Yep, mom and dad married. I lived in the same house for like 20 years.
Okay.
No, it wasn't that long. It was probably like 18 years we lived there.
Wow, that's a long time.
My parents owned it for much longer than that though, but.
Were they disciplined?
Yeah, very disciplined. My dad was always successful. My mom's an occupational therapist. My dad does pharmaceutical sales.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you already had like the sales in you already.
A little bit, yeah.
Did he make you do any sales? Did you guys like role play growing up?
Oh yeah. So my parents always did this thing where if we wanted something that was over a certain amount of money, instead of just like letting us have it because they had the funds for it, my dad would make us make a presentation. And so it had to be like the pros of getting it, the cons of getting it, and then 3 other items that were just like it. And then we'd sit in the living room on the couch and we would do like a presentation.
Wow.
Like, this is why I think I deserve this. This is the pros of me having it. These are the other 3 that I researched. This is why I don't want to get those ones and why I need this one. And then if we successfully nailed our presentation, then we could get it.
Did you ever get it?
Every time. Well, actually, except once. And once he made me go back and redo it.
What would you say was the difference between the time you was getting success to that time where it's like, all right, go back to the drawing board?
I didn't research the way that he knows I could research.
Okay. Yeah. So seems like you had a great childhood growing up, both parents, which is, fortunate because most people don't have that luxury. So now college, you went to college?
Yep. So I graduated high school in 2009. And then I went to college, very quickly found out it wasn't for me. Went to technical school and became a nurse. I loved nursing. I still love nursing. I will go back to nursing one day just for fun.
Real, I always heard like nurses have like long hours. Is that true?
It is. So you have long hours. You have corporate. There's so many different kinds of nursing. The kind of nursing I think I want to go into is I love memory care. I love dementia. I don't love dementia, but I love dementia patients.
Yeah.
So I really want to go back into nursing and go back into memory care and deal with that population. But it is long hours and it's weekends and it's nights. But one day when my kids are grown, I'll have all the time. So.
Okay. So now you're a nurse. So when did you get this entrepreneur bug, this entrepreneur spirit?
So it's actually kind of a little bit of a long story. To start, I became a nurse. I was working in a holistic clinic, and then I went into insurance. Worked insurance for a couple years, got married, had a couple babies, and I found myself on the front of a divorce. So I really wanted to continue to give my kids the lifestyle that they deserved. And I didn't know how I was going to do that with one income. So I was looking for something that could make me money and make me a good amount of money that I could just support my kids in the lifestyle that they wanted or that I wanted for them. So whether that be like a second job, whether that was entrepreneurship, in the midst of those things, my oldest son has some sensory needs, and I really, really wanted to get him a pool. So I was like, I need to make $70,000 to $80,000 in the next like 6 months so that I can buy a pool. And that was like my mindset. Like my goal was, my son needs a pool. He's a big boy. His biological father is like 6'7", so even though he's only 7, he's huge. So I needed enough money to get his pool, and that was like my number one goal. So a childhood friend of mine was always posting about how, you know, she was a teacher. I've seen her grow up. We were friends for a very long time when I was younger. So seeing her upbringing, seeing her become a teacher, and then seeing her now teach land, I was like, or seeing her make money closing land deals, I was like, hey, this may be a road for me because we have a similar upbringing and, you know, she's able to do it.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Derby and I asked her, hey, like, what is this? What's going on? You know, and can I make enough money to buy my son a pool? Mm-hmm. Because that was my mindset. I was like, cool, great. Like, I can become an entrepreneur. Like, I'm a high paid nurse. I don't need to do anything but be a high paid nurse. Like,
right.
And that was basically the road I went. I was going to try and get my son a pool. So
how many kids you got?
3.
Okay, you have 3 kids at the time, and one of your kids, they need that pool.
Yeah.
And that was your why. I got to make 70 to 80,000 within the next, you said 6 months?
Yeah, because I really wanted to get his pool.
Okay, so you see Derby now. You see her closing deals. Is she like posting checks at this time? Is that what motivated you?
Yeah, posting checks, posting like success stories of like her students. You were one of them, like that closing deals, like, and making money. And I'm seeing people's names that I haven't seen before, and like their stories, and hearing like where they came from, and they're able to do it. And I'm like, this is legit. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
So
at this time now, right? You're going through your divorce.
Yeah.
So you're going through a divorce.
Yeah.
As a registered nurse.
OPN, but yes.
OPN with 3 kids. And you're still thinking in that mindset, like, I gotta make extra income.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just let it come to me, because, you know, I feel like, you know, this day and age, most females, they wanted to, you know, naturally come to them as the men being the provider, which rightfully so, but you also was like, I have to get it myself. I can't wait for another person to do for me. So did you take action right away around this time? So
I didn't initially. So I took the workshop, and then I enrolled in the mentorship, and I didn't initially take action. And then I got to a point that I was driving, and my kids were all homesick. I had called out of work. I was terrified I was going to get fired, because I'm like calling out too much at this point, you know, based on emotional needs of going through a divorce, and then based on, you know, my kids' needs of them being sick. So it was like, I felt like I was calling out too much. I wasn't getting enough overtime, and I was like an overtime-aholic. So I wasn't hitting my overtime. Like, money was starting to get tighter. I was like, I can't live like this. I can't keep doing this. Like, forget a pool. That immediately went out the window. I was like, I can't keep living like this. Like, all my kids were sick, fevers, hysterically crying, needy, clingy on top of me. And I was like at that moment, like that breaking point. And I just was like, I just need to put them in the car and get out of the house, because I mean, any mom who's been to that point understands what I'm saying when I say, like, you get to that point. So it was like, I needed to just get in the car and get out of the house and roll the windows down without somebody touching me and like crying on me and needing me and being snotty all over me. So I got in the car and I cried, and I just drove around the city crying hysterically, and they all fell asleep. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna go home, because number 1 rule of momhood is you never transfer them once they fall asleep in the car seat. Okay. So I remembered in the course hearing about like driving for dollars, and like I didn't really understand the concept, but I just knew that I could not be in this moment anymore. Like I could not be here. So whatever it took to not be here, I was going to do it. So I started just driving around and writing down like a house, and there's a lot in the middle. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what my step was going to be after that, but I was like, I know that you need land. Yeah. So like I was just driving around my city, sleeping kids in the back, driving around, crying, and writing down addresses in my phone, screenshotting my location on like Google Maps, and then like I ended up finding a app where like it shows you the parcel number, and I was like so excited in that 1 hour, and I felt so full, and I was like, wow, like maybe I can do this. Who knows?
Wait, hold on. Before you switch subjects, I need y'all to understand. What she was doing, she was driving around her neighborhood. It was driving for dollars with houses, but we look for land. So she was looking for lots. She was driving around those neighborhoods, looking for those vacant lots, writing the addresses down so she could contact them when she got home. Like, this is genius, because at this time you're going through stress. Your stress is built up, but you still have that mindset like, I still got to work to get out of this. I love that.
Yeah, I felt like I was like I was backed against a wall at that point, because it was like, now my kids aren't happy, my money's not good, like my marriage is over. So like I felt like I was literally backed in a corner, and like the only way out was to fight.
Yeah.
And so I fought like hell.
You know, that's when miracles happen. You know, when your back is against the wall, when you're down, 30 points in the fourth quarter, but you hear those stories about people bouncing back and now they're up, and they win the game by 2 or 3 points. So talk about the next steps after that.
So I closed my very, very, very first deal. It was a JV deal.
Was it from that driving?
From that driving.
Ooh.
And I made $500.
Okay.
And it was a JV deal. Derby made the other $500, and I was so happy. And I was like crying over this $500 check, because I'm like, this would take me an entire 8 hours on a Saturday to make, which I was regularly doing because I needed it. And like, I just remember the first Saturday that I got to like spend with my kids and not have to worry about like working 3 or 4 hours during the day and then working 3 or 4 hours when they go to sleep. Like, and I just got to be there because I had a $500 check to cover the extra bills.
Yeah.
And it was
I
over
know it's
from
the
there.
best feeling, right?
It was over.
So now you got that feeling. That 500, I tell people, it's not the deal size that matters, especially on that first deal. You just got to get that first deal. You need that proof of concept, because to me, the first deal is the hardest deal to get. Once you get that first deal, it's the same process.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So now I know you got the energy. So now what happened after that?
So once I got a little bit of a taste of my freedom and like what it felt like to like really be present with my kids, and not like, I always had my kids, but like to have your kids and to be present with your kids are two very different things. And to actually have a day to be able to be present with them was like everything I wanted, the freedom I wanted. Like, this is what I want. What do I have to do to have this? I don't want the Fendi Gucci Prada. Like, I want my kids to drink spring water, eat organic fruits and vegetables, and go to private school. And I just want to be there with them through it all. And like, that's all I cared about. So that lit the fire under me. So like, I sent out a marketing, I got real excited, and I did everything you're not supposed to do when you wholesale. And I got on the phone with a couple builders. I got one under my belt, got so excited, ran a list, got a deal immediately. It was a $9,000 assignment, closed 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And I was like, again, hysterical, crying. Like, this can't be real. There's no way I have $9,000 in my bank account, and my bank account's been sitting negative for like months on and off. Like, and now I have $9,000 in there.
And that 9,000, how long do you think that took of work?
I'd be lying if I said more than an hour.
Oh my.
I think I celebrated longer than the deal took me to get under contract. And lesson learned, because when I called another builder, I sent him the same deal, and I would have got a $14,000 assignment had I just waited another 24 hours.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
But that 9,000, that feels like 900,000.
Yeah, no, truly.
So now you get the $9,000 check. Is that when we met? Because when we met, to be honest, Sarah, I think you was going through that depression state. I remember we was all together, all the land flippers was together, and you was kind of ducked off on the side with your kids and not really talking to anybody. Nobody, I didn't know what was going on, but I knew like you was paying attention, you was listening.
Yeah, I was looking. Yeah, because At that time, I hadn't closed any deals. I was still dabbling with the idea. And I think that being there in that room with those people gave me more motivation. But yeah, I mean, I was married. So like, I wasn't used to being around like men, around other, like I just wasn't used to I was used to being home and being a mom.
Yeah.
So being in that environment, I was like, who are these people? What, like, these are people. And like, especially seeing a room full of Black, successful people, I was like, culture shock for a second. Culture shock. Because I was like, this feels like home.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like home. This feels like home. I don't even know.
It was literally like legendary when I rewinded in my mind, because it was about 7 of us, 8.
Yeah.
Just land flippers.
Yeah.
Making money. Like each week, I just got a 10K deal. Oh, you just got 13.
Deal,
like
3K deal, 12K deal, 15K deal. It's like it just rolled in, and it's like we were all just 5-figure check, like a revolving door.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, right, you have a CRM. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this, because I'm interested in the CRMs. It's another stream of income, but it's also like you are helping people. Mm-hmm. Getting their message across to these sellers, to these builders. So let's highlight the CRM. How, like, what are some of the first steps?
Leading up to the CRM. Basically, once I learned about land, I immediately started reinvesting back into the business because I knew nothing about entrepreneurship. Like I said, my dad did sales. My mom was an occupational therapist. None of my family, like my extended family that I am in contact with, were entrepreneurs. So I didn't really have like family that I could reach out to be like, hey, everyone is kind of like, you're crazy. You're a single mom with 3 kids. What are you doing? You need to spend time with your kids. Stop trying to make a business. Like, you're a nurse. That's what you chose. Sit down. Was like what I kept getting from everyone. Yeah. So I hired Megan to help me build my systems because everyone in entrepreneurship kept talking about systems. You got to have systems. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is a system? Yeah. Like, and so they're
for
like,
the people that don't know.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, a system is basically something that works so that you don't have to. So it's something that I can set up, let's say tonight at 8 o'clock, I can set up my system so that tomorrow at 8 a.m., all my text messages go out. So I can go do kid drop off, kid pick up, oh crap, someone forgot a lunchbox, and I can go drop it off to them, and my money's already working because my system's already going. So that's basically what a CRM is.
So with your system, I could schedule text messages,
right, and
send them out, and not have to be on the computer or sending the text messages each person directly. Correct. So and then on top of it, so during that time that I was trying to figure out like what an automation is and how do you do it, I had to build the whole back end of my CRM that I was using at the time. And I was like, this is so much work. It takes so much time. I was up all night, and then I'm researching because, hello, you saw how my parents raised me. Yeah. So I'm the research queen. Right. So I'm researching, what's an effective time frame to reach out to somebody again? How many times does somebody have to be touched in order for them to respond to a message? How many calls do you need to place? What kind of phone number should you be placing it from? And so I went down the list and I researched everything. I compiled the research, and then I went to Megan and I was like, let's make our CRM. Wow, that's genius.
So Megan's brilliant. So immediately we started working with developers, and we were able to create this insane system that can literally do it all for you. So all those messages that I had to input into the system, all those time frames that I had to figure out, it's already pre-built in there for people so that they don't have to go through that step.
So it's very user-friendly.
Yes.
Okay.
Very user-friendly.
So now what if somebody has issues? Do you guys have a support team? We do.
So a lot of the issues that we feel everyone's running into specifically with CRMs is Twilio. Twilio is a back-end provider that sends out text messages, and a lot of people are having issues with their accounts being flagged because of Twilio. So we have specific support staff dedicated to our Twilio clients that are having issues with their accounts, so that we can be the middleman to handle all the issues for you. Instead of just kind of throwing you the emails that they send you and telling you to figure it out. We try to really help you on the back end to make sure that everything gets handled.
Yeah, that's dope, because most people think, oh, I'm just paying for this, and that. They don't see the work that you have to put in.
Right.
You have to answer those emails when somebody sends the wrong message out.
Exactly, or to a landline, sends a text message to a landline on accident. So our system is actually currently going through an update where you'll no longer be able to send text messages to landlines, so that won't be a thing, which is going to be great.
So I could just upload a list with landlines and mobile phones, and it would just skip the landlines, or how would that work?
No, but it will recognize the landlines and it'll tell you it's bad data, and it won't let you upload them.
Okay.
So right now, the way our system is set up is that it automatically recognizes bad data. So a lot of the people who joined our system have realized that their skip tracing companies that they're using aren't great. And the way they see that is because when you go into our system, because Megan's a numbers genius, she put KPIs throughout the entire system. So you can see how many messages you have going out, who your leads are coming from, who's texting you back. We have pipelines in there that tell you, it works your deal from start to close. So you, as an owner who doesn't want to have to work in your business, you can go into your account and you can see, okay, this deal is here, 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 and here. You can open up the notes and you can see every message and every note that your virtual assistant has put in there. You can upload your contracts, any addendums right into the client's chart, the leads chart. So you have literally everything right there. So if you get a call on your cell phone and it happens to be a seller, you can literally log into your CRM, click their contact card, and all the information is there for you. Our CRM is built to build a business. So building a business means you need to train someone else, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to work in our businesses all day. So training someone else is very simple on a CRM that's completely automated. We have a scripter in there, so you can put your exact wording in there. We have automatic replies, so you can put your wording in there.
So let's say I have your system, right? I have a virtual assistant. How long do you think it would take her to be good at the system? Is it a long time? So
it really depends on how you train them. The system itself is very user-friendly, and we have videos on videos on videos, breaking everything down. And we try to go down pretty Barney style with them so that people can really get the gist of what it is.
Yeah.
Now with a virtual assistant, we have all our training videos in English and Tagalog, since most of people's real estate VAs are from the Philippines.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that it was very accessible, and pretty soon we'll also have them in Spanish.
Okay.
So for them to learn it, once you learn what an automation is and how it works, it makes the system very, very, very easy to use.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I like this. I'm liking this. You said I might have to tap in. But so
and we'll give you a good affiliate.
Appreciate that. So now with I lost it. So with the system, right? Do you guys do an onboard training?
So we have live Zooms in our Facebook group every Monday and Thursday. For sure every Monday. Thursdays change based on my kids' sports practices. So it's either Wednesday or Thursday. And then we are also now going to start playing Kahoot on Fridays.
What's that?
In there, which is it's a game to keep engagement with each other. It's where you can learn new things by being interactive. So we have all kinds of stuff.
Are these recorded too?
Yep, everything's recorded and saved in the Facebook group as well. And then anybody who has a course, if you have a land course, a land mentorship, if you have a housing mentorship, we also will specifically create the back end of the CRM to fit your course. So, if you like your messages to say a certain things, we'll have the messages say that. If you like your scripter to say a certain things when you're calling, we can put that in there for your course specifically. Wow. So whether that's land, whether that's houses, we can create the system based on your course specifically. So when you're teaching your students, it's a very easy transition for them to just go right into the system and have everything already set the way you wanted it for them.
Gotcha. No, this literally sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've worked really hard to perfect it.
How long would you say it took to Create.
So we had everything like on a whiteboard, mirrored out. I mean, Megan's, like I said, a genius. So she was able to get it done fairly quickly once we found the person that we wanted to be able to partner with to help us develop.
With what was your biggest deal?
My biggest deal was $22,000.
$22,000. Profit. On one deal.
On one deal. It was 3 lots that I sold.
Was this all in Spring Hill too?
Yep.
Wow, hometown.
I made the most money. Well, I won't say that actually. I made the second amount of most money in the city that I literally lived in since I was 3.
If you had to estimate amount in Spring Hill that you made hometown, you don't have to say an exact number, a range, or good money.
Good money. I mean, very, 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 I was able to put my kids in private school, feed them the organic fruits and vegetables and the spring water, cover all of my bills, help family members out.
Wow.
All on my income
from
solely from Spring Hill.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
this is why I love land flipping. And the fact that you get to get that joy of doing it in your hometown, in your city where I grew up. I'm selling land. I'm bettering my community because now these builders is gonna build a house on it and sell it to a happy homeowner.
And then too, like physically driving the streets and like knowing how much that deal made you.
I just made 10,000 on you.
Right, it's very different. Like driving my kids to football practice, like, okay, thank you 5,000. Okay, thank you 8,000 over there. You know.
Yo, that's dope.
So yeah, it's definitely a different feeling.
Yeah, I tried houses in Staten Island in New York. I almost got a deal, but never made money out there. So I could just imagine like passing by one of my deals.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never tried houses. You think it's easier houses or land?
Definitely land, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just an easier conversation. To me, I don't have to comp, you know? You have to really know the condition. What if they have termites? You got to deduct another $5,000 for the bathroom. Like, you don't have to do that with land. It's a simple, I want this price, Elijah, offer lower. Simple.
Easy. And a lot of the times, well, yeah.
Think about this, right? That's simple, right? Elijah, I need this price, offer lower. That made you a lot of money where you was able to help your family, help your kids, buy that pool. You feel me? Like you was able to do the things that you want just off of that process right there.
Exactly. I didn't buy the pool, by the way.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, because once I started investing, I learned that was not where I needed to invest my money.
Right.
So I got a little smarter and we got a little more strategic on how we handle our sensory stuff. But like, I was literally able to reach every other goal that I wanted. Like, not just reach it, but like bust through the ceiling, bust through the ceiling, bust through the ceiling. And I look back now and like being a single mom, having 3 kids, having like, my baby was still breastfeeding. I was up all night, like my 2-year-old was up all night. Like it was a wild time. And I just look back now and I'm so thankful for those days because without those days, I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't have pushed so hard.
Yeah.
You go into a different mindset when you're in that kind of situation.
Yo, the grind becomes real. Like I remember when I first came out here and DoorDashing and being in that hot room, cold calling for hours, no AC. Like my head is fried, but my mind is like, keep going, keep pushing. Because every day when you keep going, you're getting closer to that goal.
Exactly. Yeah, there would be nights that I would be working on building out the business and I would just be hysterically crying because I was so tired. And my therapist would tell me, Sarah, you just need to sleep for like a solid 8 hours. And I was like, I can't sleep yet. I have to finish. Because you get in that hustler mindset. You just have to go because you know something greater is right there if you just keep going.
I would say this, Sarah. I feel like you being a single mother of 3, like you low-key have a superpower. Because think of it, like me being a single man, I get to wake up and I own my own business, I get to wake up when I want to. Regardless, you own your own business, you still got to wake up at 5, 6 a.m. to make sure all 3 of your kids are straight before you even start your day. And that's not just, 1 day a week. That's 4, 5, 6 days a week.
7
consistently. That's different. And still running 2 businesses. Coming from being a nurse to really making this happen, like, that's different, Sarah.
Thank you. It was a lot of work, but it takes a certain mindset, I will say, because I've seen a lot of people try to start this and give up when it got hard. In the beginning phases, like in the beginning phases, it's hard, and you can go through times when you're like, why am I doing this? But like pushing through those times is what really, really builds you into this unbreakable person, this unbreakable business. Yeah.
So like, what would you say to, that single mother of 3 that just got divorced or is going through a divorce, and she wants to build a business, she wants that extra income to be able to provide for her kids? What would you tell her?
First, I would tell her not to look at it as extra income. I would tell her to look at it as if she's building a business and learn the foundations of a business. I think that's somewhere where I really messed up, because I just started making money, and I didn't have any guidance on what to do next. So I didn't have guidance on like building a business. So I would say that's number 1. Look at it as you're going to build a business, because when I always say there's 2 kinds of single moms in the world. They're the ones that are going to make excuses and rely on a man, and they're going to be just help me, save me, pour me, I'm a single mom. And then there's going to be those women who are like, I'm a single mom, and you're going to get it done anyways. And you're going to make sure you wake up every day, and you're going to look at those kids, and you're not going to look at them and say like, I can't, like Johnny's sick and Buddy's throwing up, and how am I supposed to? And you're going to look at them, and you're going to say, okay, this is the reason why I have no choice but to, because at the end of the day, like, looking at my kids sick, me crying, worrying about being fired, how am I going to support you, but how do I take care of you because you're sick? Like, looking at my kids in that moment and being like, I don't have a choice but to get out of this. This could have been my reason. Like, you know what, forget it. I was like, take a job making $10 less an hour, get on food stamps, and just rely on the government. Or sell land. So the land won, obviously.
But making that decision, that decision doesn't just come with peaches and cream. You don't just get that $8,000 check. That $9,000 check. You have to put in that work. You have to go through that pain and still come out victorious. Do them extra reps.
You know you're going through it to get through it. Like, you're not going through it for nothing. You're going through it to get through it because there's something waiting for you. And like, something I've always admired about you is that you're very quick to cut out toxic friendships. So that's why you're able to think so clearly. So when you're going through things, sometimes you're going through something and you're like grabbing people with you, and you're like, no, like my friend of 30 years, my grandfather, my mom, my best friend, like, and you're grabbing people and you're trying to take them on this journey with you. And you don't realize that, like, all you got to do is just snip that cord and your success is right around the corner. Snip that energetic cord, and like, you're very quick to cut out the toxicity. So, and it leaves your mind so free. And every time I talk to you, I'm like so inspired, because you're like, and this, and we could do this, and we could do this. And it's so big. It's so big. Your dreams are so big. And I'm like, yeah, I want to dream that big. And the more things that, fall away from me that aren't healthy for me, I'm seeing clearer. And like, I think that's a really, really big point that moms need to understand too, because there's a lot of friendships that we hold on to as moms because our children have relationships with them, our children love them, and like, it's not worth it. If you're in that toxic relationship and you don't want to leave that toxic relationship because you're afraid of like, how will you do it on your own? Like, you'll do it and more.
I always think that, like, one, me being a single growing up the single child, right? I don't have no brothers. I don't have no sisters. I was always alone. So I feel like I enjoyed my alone time. I've figured out how to cope with being alone. So now I don't have to depend on anybody at all. And being able to have that confidence, it allows you to have that creativity now. And now with that creativity, I could create without having any limitations. Because you know how people are. They're gonna, I think how he says, everybody's being used, but don't be misused. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're all there to benefit from each other. Bring each other to a different level. Now, some people, they don't want to bring you up with them, you know? And those are the people you just got to cut them off so you could grow your own table or your own tree.
And that's not to say that, you know, those friendships and those relationships and those, you know, marriages, whatever it is that you have, it's not to say that once you cut it off, you have to hate those people.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's another big thing that takes over people's mindsets is like when they start elevating and they hear people say like, yeah, you got to cut this off, you got to cut them off, you got to cut. And they think that like, that means like now you have to hate them.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing is like not hating each other.
Are you a Leo?
No.
Okay, because I heard one thing, no shots at Leos.
I know you didn't just ask if I'm a Leo. When your birthday is in?
September.
And mine's in?
September.
Okay.
My bad. You know, it's been a minute. But so with Leos, I heard that when they're very passionate. Not a shot at you Leos, but because you guys are very passionate, when you're in a good mood, we ride. But when we in that bad mood, you're still passionate, so you could speak negativity or you could, you know, bring that person down. So I just feel like we gotta, you know, remove all toxic people, music, situations, mentalities, attitudes, behaviors. Like when we just cut all of that out and just focus on growth, positivity, happiness, you know, rewards.
Right.
Bro, that's when we manifest shit.
Right.
Like what we want. You're gonna manifest regardless. A lot of people manifest what they don't want.
Yeah.
Like
Truly. Like you could really truly manifest yourself into the exact situation that you never wanted to be in. Like your brain is so powerful, and like pouring into that. I mean, and from a young age, like my kids, we regularly are doing affirmations. Like we go running half a mile to a mile every single day. They're in football, basketball, soccer, like physical activity, mental activity. Like I have a chore chart, and that's where they do all their chores. And then I have a mental health responsibility chart as well. And this is where you take care of your mental health every day because it's so important to teach them.
See, and that's another thing, right? With the kids, you already have your kids the same way your parents had you, you know, doing those activities, making sure that they're developing. Your kids is going to be special.
Yeah, they're going to be 3 amazing men. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it because I'm enjoying the moment.
Do they I guess it's like, do they grow quick? Like, do you see it instantly?
It's just crazy because, you know, right now I'm heavy into like learning about the 4 functions of behavior because...
Can you know it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So sensory, escape, attention, or a tangible. So like sensory would be like they're in a really, and this applies to adults too, so it's helping me learn how to deal with people. But you know, sensory would be they're in an environment that's overwhelming, and they feel overwhelmed, so they're having a behavior because of that. So what do you do with that? You remove them from the situation, or you know, you help them cope with the situation. Escape, they're running away, you know, from you when you're trying to discipline them, or when you know they're not getting what they want. attention, they're doing something for attention, and tangible when they want something and you're denying access to it. So I've been like heavy learning the 4 functions of behavior so that I can implement it more in my house and like how to deal with each behavior. And just implementing one little word phrase or one little, you know, my kids are, Mom, I want da-da-da-da. Okay, or if I ask them a question, for example, like, you know, Ezra, go put your socks away. No. Yes, ma'am. No. Yes, ma'am. No. Yes, ma'am. And him, yes, ma'am. And he goes and does it. But there's no more like back and forth, you know, going back and forth with them. So, you know, learning about that and like learning about them and learning about those kinds of things have been such a game changer that you think about, and that's raising a human. Imagine your business, you pour into your business just a little bit like that. Like people who have all this time, you don't have kids. Why are you not reading every book? Why are you not listening to every podcast? Like, why are you not running miles and just pouring into your brain constantly?
Talk to me.
You don't have no excuse. Like they don't have any excuse. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's like people come to me and they're like, I'm just so busy. I'm like, oh, I get it. How many kids do you have? And they're like, well, none, but I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, there's no excuse. And I feel like you're talking to me, because even though I'm having great success, I could be going 10 times harder, you know? And just hearing that, it's like, yo, Eli, wake up. I think I'm conscious, but you could always get better. You could always do more.
That's the disease.
Yeah.
The disease is that we want more and more, and no matter how many zeros are in your bank account, you just want more. It's a never-ending.
It don't stop. It's crazy because I used to think.
But it's fun.
It is.
Like people used to tell me, you know, like it's a game you'll never win. And I'm like, but I'm not in it to win either. Like the game is fun. It's fun learning. It's fun making money. It's fun adding zeros. Like it's fun. There's nothing, you know, it's stressful, but it's a fun.
It's a fun stress.
Yeah.
It's like, because you know, once you get that reward, like you could really pop your shit. Like it's an energy that I wish everybody could feel. Yeah. Because it's a different type of like high adrenaline. And
there's been several times that I'm like, you know what? I don't know that I can do this. I'm tapping out. I'm going back to corporate America. I'll make my little, you know, $30, $40 an hour and everybody can leave me alone. And like, I've been ready to just throw in the towel. And corporate America is just not for me. Like, lesson learned. But like, there's been several times that I'm just like, it is so hard being a mom and being an entrepreneur and everything falling on you all the time. But it is so rewarding. Like being at every single one of my kids' events. I don't miss a game. I don't miss a practice.
Yeah, you sound like my mom.
I don't miss any school event. I don't care how big or small. I don't care if I'm invited or not. Like I'm that mom that's like peeking over the cars because like it's supposed to be for only grandparents. And I'm like, I want to see them sing too. Like, and so I'm like peeking over the cars so I can see like my kids and like not get in trouble by the principal. Like, I want to be there for every moment, like every loss, every win. I want to be there for every single second. And like, that's what making money outside of corporate America does for you. That's the game changer. That's the game changer. For real. That's the game changer. Like if you want to also work in corporate America, great. I've seen several successful entrepreneurs also remain in corporate, and that's okay. And they still don't have to miss out on those events. Why? Because when you make extra money and corporate is no longer the thing that's supplying your income regularly, that job's different. You're not walking into that job with the same mindset as you did when that was your only income. Yeah. So for the moms who aren't comfortable enough to quit, I think it's very important for them to know that you can do both. You can. It's going to require more work, more out of you. Right. But you can. It's possible. I seen you do it. I literally seen you come from this depressed place to like owning 2 businesses with 3 kids, quitting your job as a nurse to flip lit full time. Like it's dope seeing somebody else succeed, somebody else say everything that she's doing
or do everything that you're saying. Like, you're not just talking this, you're actually doing it every single day, Sarah.
Every day.
That's dope.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's been worth it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't believe it. Like, when I look at pictures from that night that I met all of you guys, and I look at pictures from then and I look now, I'm like, who is that girl?
Wow. I got to see those pictures.
I gotta show them to you.
Yeah, those are good times.
Yeah.
You just, even to grow from that time, because we was in good positions at that time, but we didn't give up. I've seen a lot of people, well, we know a lot of people that didn't push to that point where we are right now.
Right.
So I would say to you, keep going. Use me as motivation, because I'm using you as motivation. I'm seeing you level up, and that's wanting me to. Like, behind me, right, you have the PNC Bank, Truist Bank, freaking TD, right? All downtown, all together. They're all competition. What does that tell you? They're using each other to get better. You seeing 10 people, you know, going into this bank. All right, now tomorrow I need 11 in my bank.
Right.
So it's that good competition. So that's how I see you. Good competition. As long as you keep growing, I'm gonna keep growing.
Right.
And I need you to have that same type of energy.
Right.
As long as you see me posting 3 times a day, I need you posting.
I know.
REI Kash. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, yeah. No, truly, because I look at your stuff all the time. I'm like, bro, every time I open my phone, Elijah. Every time I open my phone, Elijah's posting. I'm like, that, but it's so good because it's like, and your message is very clear. What you do and how to get to you is very clear. And I think that's definitely motivation.
Thank you. Yeah, because do you remember the time when I didn't post? Like, you was posting on TikTok.
And TikTok constantly.
You was like, Eli, post on TikTok.
Record me really quick. And you're like, you're not like nervous. Like, and when I see you posting, I tell people about that all the time. Like, yo, I never in my life thought that I would see you posting as much as you do. Like, actively in things, like being funny, being an actor. Like, I didn't see you doing that.
Right.
I did not see Elijah doing that.
Even the dancing, you see the
rain down.
Like, I like that I'm kind of, well, at least what I feel, unpredictable.
Yeah,
I feel like that's where you got to be unpredictable, right? You never know what you might see next. I might really go into acting. Like, I don't see myself. No, for real. I don't see myself as just a real estate professional.
You see you doing something else for sure. That's like me. I don't know
if it's acting or politics or like you said, think big.
Yeah.
I don't want to just limit myself to what I'm doing now. I'm 28. I'm thinking like, damn, at 50, what?
I mean, I could see you on like a HGTV type show.
Right?
Yeah, doing some
building a whole block.
Yeah, right, wholesaling the whole block to a constructor, to a construction worker, or to a developer, and then you build houses on the other block, right across it from the profit that you made from closing that deal, like something crazy like that, probably.
Yeah, let's manifest that.
All right, bet.
Building a block.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Sarah, where can these people follow you?
Instagram at REI Kash, as well as Systemized Sarah. That is my Instagram name. I'm not really on Facebook or anywhere else. I'm on TikTok, Coffee Chaos Contracts, but I might also change that to Systemized Sarah.
Make sure y'all tap in with REI Kash, the best CRM system out right now. Tap in with Sarah, and if you want to learn how to flip land, text land at 813-687-8867. Game changers.